Hi everybody, I just want to welcome everybody to Media Day today. My name is Ashley Gabler and I am the Director of Athletic Communications and Technology here at Northern. And I'm just going to run through the schedule a little bit for you guys so everybody knows where we're going with Media Day today. So after I'm done, President Smith and then Josh Moon will come up and talk, and then we'll start off with women's basketball. Coach will come up and then he'll bring up his players that he has here today. They'll tell you a little bit about themselves. And then Coach will open the floor for questions, and then we'll go through the same process with Coach Sather and men's basketball. So we're definitely excited for basketball season to start here. We're in the midst of fall season, but basketball is just around the corner with men's basketball next weekend on November 7th. So without further ado, we're going to welcome President Smith to the podium.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Those of you who are watching us streaming live, welcome as well. And it's always a pleasure and a privilege to be able to come and kick off a new season, and certainly that's the case for this year with basketball. Just a few comments that I'll make. Usually Josh comes up and says something nice, like, isn't it great that the president comes? It's really nice to be invited. You know, I don't know that everybody understands that to be part of the whole unit of the university is a lot of fun as a president. And sometimes people say, well, why weren't you at the event? Well, you have to invite me, because I don't always know. But certainly I know with the coaching staff here and our athletic director, I get invited, and I certainly appreciate that. And I certainly look forward to the basketball season, as all of you do. I have just a couple points that I like to share that maybe are a little different than we'll talk about from the coach's vantage points. And yes, I have to wear half glasses in order to do it. I didn't put a 19-point font up here, so I have to read with cheaters. Both programs are coming off a 20-win season. Most of you know that. Pretty phenomenal last year for us. Both programs qualified for the NCAA tournament, and very few universities in Division II had both their men's squad and their women's squad in the NCAA tournament last year. I think that's quite a feat. The next one is, everyone may not know this, Coach Fredrickson is the second most winning women's basketball coach in Division II, but I did learn a point today that I don't even know if you know, Fred. Coach Fredrickson's been coaching longer than Mr. Moon's been alive. Now that tells you that we hired a very young athletic director.
I hope he remembers that.
Okay, all right. I came to that, but I think he kind of helped me, Coach. We hired a very young athletic director, but it also tells you that Coach has been doing this a long time and had a great run at the wins and at the recruiting of very fine women athletes that have a long history here. Even brought back an assistant coach that played for you, so that tells you a lot about the strength of the program. We have the first ever NSIC tournament champion for our NSU women last year. Certainly a big event for all of us and a lot of fun to watch and participate in. And then the point that I think is the greatest point of pride for a president is, and I say this every year at our various media days, and it doesn't matter the sport, it's true in all sports. Our athletes outperform our non-athletes academically. So when someone says, you know, your athletes are really pulling down your GPA, the athletes are really pulling up the GPA. Now, I might note that there's a difference between the women and the men. 3.6 GPA for the women last year, 3.28 for the men. So we've got a little bit of a challenge. Above 3 points really good, but the women have set the bar pretty high, and they're over looking at the guys now smiling that their GPA exceeded the men. Some of you are saying that's not surprising. National average, women exceed men in grade point averages. But also remember that the life of an athlete here really is a grueling life. They are studying on buses, they are studying in hotels, they're studying on breaks. It's really amazing to look at those two, the men's GPA and the women's GPA, and think about all the things that we ask them to do. And then we get them up here and we're going to ask them to talk today and dress in uniforms and those kinds of things. There's a lot of demands on their time, and we certainly thank them. I believe Mr. Moon is going to speak next and tell us a little bit about the athletic director's perspective. And again, I thank all of you for being here, and go Wolves.
Well, welcome everybody. First off, I want to look at the
seats you're sitting in today, these are donated on behalf of the Royal Order of the Gyps. These are our new courtside seats, and these seats that you're sitting in will actually be in this team room here, and that the Gyps group actually named this team room last year, and they've contributed over $300,000 over the course of their history, which is 70-plus years, to Northern State Athletics, mainly for scholarships, but then things like the chairs that you're sitting in, and this will be a great room for study area or study table, and then for recruiting visits and things like that. So this is just a one step, one phase to get this room where it needs to go. And then also we have air conditioning here. So those of you who've been in here before, it's very hot. It used to be the old resting room. So obviously that's changed a lot here with the air conditioning getting done in the last month. It's just going to be a great space for us for recruiting, for corporate events, and all that good stuff. So we're looking at basketball this year, and exciting season here. I'm going to bring the coaches up in just 1 second. I first want to talk about our fall season. Volleyball this weekend, very exciting to see where that program's going in Coach Aldridge's leadership. Number 2 in the country, and big weekend this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, so please come out and support the Wolves volleyball. We have soccer. Soccer just is coming off of 2 straight wins this last weekend and pushing for the conference tournament. They play Friday at 2. And then our football program is playing at 1 p.m. on Saturday against Minnesota Duluth, so a great game there. We've won 4 straight in football, so we say this all the time, but the bar has been raised here for Northern State University, and we're excited to see where our programs are going and where they're heading in the future. Cross country, we just had their first ever regional ranking in program history, ranked 9th, I think, Kevin, in the country, so that's a huge step for that program. And I think that success breeds success, and we're excited to see the coaches and the student athletes pushing each other and then supporting each other. I think we've seen that this year with volleyball with 2,000 fans. Last weekend or 2 weekends ago, we had Concordia St. Paul here and had a just unbelievable turnout. So that's what this is all about, and we're excited to be here and talk basketball starting in a couple weeks. So this year we have a couple of big events. I Hate Winners in February. Like usual, we have Augustana coming up here for the first time in a couple years, so that'll be a great rivalry to get them up here, along with Sioux Falls and some other local teams. Should be an awesome schedule this year. We have Coach Ferguson to come up here first and talk. He's in his 37th year with the program, career record of 773 wins, 285 losses, 4-time NSIC Coach of the Year, member of 4 Hall of Fames, in the NSU Hall of Fame, NSIC Hall of Fame, NEI Hall of Fame, and the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. He's led NSU to 2 national championships, 1992 and 1984. And as Dr. Smith mentioned, they are coming off of a 26-win season in the first ever NSIC tournament championship in school history. So let's bring up Coach Kurt Fredrickson.
Well, thank you, and welcome everyone to our press conference. I want to touch just a little bit on last year's team before we forget about it. I've coached for a long time here. I don't know if I've had a good group of seniors as we graduated last year. We've had good players here, but not at one group at a time like we had with those seniors. You know, when you've got 6'1", 6'2", 6'1" in the front line at our level, that's pretty hard to replace, and certainly that's going to be the challenge for us and our players this year. Winning that conference tournament down at Sioux Falls and the girls having a chance to lift up that trophy, I know is a feeling that they won't forget and I won't forget in a long, long time. So that was just a special year. The downside of that is when you look at our statistics and see that we averaged about 66 points a game last year and 48 of those just graduated, now that's where the challenge comes in because we've got really about 18 points back from last year's team. Probably the best recruit that we got in the offseason was Coach Kruger. Paul, you want to stand up a second? People know who you are. Coach Kruger came back from Colorado. She's now our assistant coach. She's been a graduate assistant coach here. She's been an assistant coach here. She's been a head college coach out in Colorado, and she's coached at the highest level of high school out in Colorado. So as far as experience goes, there isn't anybody that's more experienced than her. Our kids love her, and as Coach Olson used to say, she's one of those people that bleeds maroon and gold, and we're certainly happy to have her back in our staff. This year's team, when you come to our games, you're probably going to need a program for the first time in a long time because we're going to have some different faces out there. We've got two pretty experienced guards that are sitting up here, and we're hoping that those two can kind of hold the fort down a little bit until some of our younger players get some experience, some game experience. We've got 19 players in our team. You got to remember we play a few JV games with our younger kids, so we have a few extra kids in most teams. But we've got 2 seniors, we've got 4 juniors, we've got 6 sophomores and 7 freshmen. So 13 of our 19 players are in that sophomore and freshman category. We're trying to get 9 people ready to play right now. And if we had to pick out who those 9 would be, obviously Page at the point guard position, backed up by a sophomore, Gabby Lamer from Monticello, Minnesota, who had a very good year last year in our junior varsity program. Devin at the 2 guard spot, backed up by probably right now the only freshman that's probably ready to play a little bit, J.C. Girding, and she just happens to be from the same high school that Page is from, and also where Jill Conrad is from. So we've got 3 very good players from Centennial High School, and if you remember Emily Becken, that's the same high school that Emily Becken came from. So we've had 4 players from the same high school that's had a lot of success in Minneapolis. The 3 position, Alexis Tappy, who played some last year backing up Megan Mutzler, but didn't get a lot of minutes. We're looking for a big year from her. Bethany Crosswade, another junior that's kind of been waiting to have a chance to play. And then at the inside positions at 4 and 5, we're really playing 3 people there right now. Lauren, who'll start at center. Jill Conrad, who's a 5'11 sophomore, and then Miranda Rista, who's a 6'2 sophomore. So 2 of those 3 people will be sophomores playing that position. So if we had to start today, those would be the 9 people that would be playing. As far as our schedule is concerned, we have a couple of tournaments. One that we've gone to for the last 2 or 3 years down away in Nebraska. Their coach does a great job of pulling teams in because of where they're located and the guarantee that he gives them from some of those Missouri and Kansas schools that are in our region in a tournament down there, opening weekend. And our NCAA has a rule that says that if you play teams within your region the first weekend of the year, you can exempt those games and play extra games. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of years. So we'll go down there to start a tournament down there. And then a week later, we go out and play Black Hills State and Spearfish and continue all the way out to Colorado to play a couple NCAA games out in Colorado Springs, Colorado the following weekend. So we've got 5 really tough games on the road, which will be good for our young players before we even get into our conference schedule. We're allowed to play 3 exhibition or scrimmage type games. We've had 1 scrimmage already after having 4 practices. We have 2 exhibition games, one on a Monday night against Dort. Remember the DeWitt family. Katie DeWitt is now the head coach at Dort College down in Iowa, and she's bringing her team up here in a doubleheader. I think, Paul, I don't know who they play on that Monday night, but it's a doubleheader with the men and women. And then we have an exhibition game with Dakota Wesleyan up here, I think, on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So those will be our 3 games that really don't count for us. We've had 6 practices so far, which isn't a lot. We don't play for another 2 weeks. I know Paul plays here pretty quick. We've got a little luxury in that we've got some time to kind of get our team ready to go. As far as expectations, I think everybody read where the media picked us. They picked us 10th in the league and 4th in the North, and that's probably where we'd have picked them. I know the coach staff talked before the season and asked, where do you think we're going to get picked? We said probably 9th or 10th. But obviously, some of these league coaches have not seen a lot of our younger players play because those older players have been taking up all the playing time the last couple of years. So, I think they could be in for a surprise the second half of the season when some of these kids get some experience and they figure out who some of those names in the program are. So we're looking forward to that challenge. We have 4 kids committed for next year. Obviously, we're not permitted to comment on individuals, but our signing date is November 11th, and we will sign 4 people that day and publicize it, and possibly a 5th. But I think those are some people that will really help us for next year. And I don't think there's any question, without a doubt, recruiting has become a lot easier when they step into this facility, weight room, basketball court, locker room, and see what we have over here. And because there isn't any of these recruits that come from Minnesota especially that can believe the facilities that we have over here for the school our size. And that goes a lot to our administration and the support that we get from our administration to keep us to a level to compete with some of these other schools in our league, both scholarship-wise and facility-wise. And I know that's one place Coach Kruger will really help our program is the recruiting part of it. That's probably the toughest part of any coach's job is the recruiting part of it, and we've been lucky so far. We've got some good kids in our program, we've got some good young kids in our program, and hopefully we can continue that. Before I introduce my players and let them speak a little bit, does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask me? Okay, I'm going to introduce Devin Brekke. Come on up, Devin. To start with, Devin's been here she's one of the 2 seniors we have in our team. Devin hit 23 three-point shots last year, averaged about 8 points a game, and certainly we're expecting big things from Devin.
I'm Devin Brekke. I'm from Wagner, South Dakota, and I'm a senior this year at the 2-guard position. As Coach Fred mentioned, we lost 6 really good seniors, so it's going to be a little shaky right away, but I think we have a lot of talent coming up, and we have some really great coaches behind us, backing us up. So I'm excited to see where this season leads us. As he said also, we are picked 10th, and I think we're going to kind of surprise some people, and I'm excited for the challenge. Individually, I think I just need to be a good captain and push my teammates as much as I can, and so that we can be the best team that we can. And that's about all I got, but any questions? All right.
What's your major?
I am majoring in biology right now, and I plan to go to the nursing program. I don't know, I'm looking at Northern, but I'm kind of looking in the cities too, so that's the plan so far.
Any questions for Devin? Devin doesn't put makeup on very often, so this is one of the few times you get a chance to see her with makeup on. Come on up, Lauren. This is Lauren Dietrich. Lauren's got some pretty big shoes to fill at this school because her dad was an All-American here in the 80s, and she got some of his size. Her dad's about 6'7", 6'8", and her mother's from Groton, so she's really had some local ties to this area. And Lauren's been kind of playing with and behind Rachel Krogman, a really good player here, for the last 2 or 3 years. She also played last year with a band around her, what shoulder, right?
Yep.
Her right shoulder. She had a torn labrum and played with it all year long. Well, she had surgery on that this summer, and now she's healthy and probably one of the most athletic players we have on our team.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Dietrich. I'm from Waconia, Minnesota, and I'm a senior as well. And I play center, like Coach Fred said. For the season, like the others said, that we're ranked 10th in the conference, and we're really looking to surprise some people this year. And we really want to work to motivate each other every day on the court and at practice and games. We want to be there for each other, and we also want to look to push each other to the highest potential we all can. We're all really excited for the season this year. We obviously have some big shoes to fill as we lost 6 seniors, like they already said. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement every week with season passing, so that'll be exciting. As an individual, I just want to be a good captain and good leader for the team. I want to push all my teammates as much as I can every day and help everyone know that they can be the best player that they can be on the court. Any questions?
What's your major?
I'm majoring in business marketing.
What do you want to do with that?
I'm not sure yet. I'm looking to explore my options, so we'll see once I get out in the business world.
Any questions? Okay, thanks, Laura. This is Paige with Tasha. She's pretty familiar to most of you. She's pretty much started for us at the point guard position for the last 2 years, and we've got a little bit of an advantage at that position over most teams because there's not a lot of 5'11" point guards out there. And so we try to take advantage of her size a little bit when she's not hurt. And she came down on somebody's ankle about 3 weeks ago and tore 2 tendons in the bottom of her ankle. So now she's in the healing process. She went from a regular cast for 2 weeks to a walking cast for 3 or 4 weeks, and now she's in the process of rehabbing that to try to get herself ready to play here in the next 3 or 4 weeks, hopefully. But, you know, we're practicing out there with all our most experienced. It's a great position for Gabby to be in, the sophomore, because she's getting all the reps with the better players, but it doesn't help the coaching staff much when you got your leader on the floor in a boot cast and watching practice. So that's where we've kind of been. Paige hit 43 threes for us last year, which was team leading by far, so she's kind of our long-range sniper that takes some of the pressure off our centers. She's also looking forward to this year because she's had a sister that's played at South Dakota State the last 4 years, and her folks had to split time. Well, now her sister's graduated, and now her folks can watch her play all the time. So,
Yes, true. So like you said, I'm Paige Tasha. I'm from Lino Lakes, Minnesota, and went to Centennial High School. I'm a junior point guard. Season outlook. So like Devin said, it might be a little shaky, but I think it's going to be a great learning experience for most of our younger girls. And I think that a lot of them will surprise you when you watch our games coming up. It just might take a while, but we'll get there. Team expectations that we have is just to push each other every day, work hard, put it all out there because we have nothing to lose, as you could tell from the rankings that we had. Individually, I want to be a good leader on and off the court. It's been hard to, like Coach Fred said, to lead when you're sitting on the sideline, but getting better at being more involved, doing what I can. And I really want to help Gabby Limer, the point guard behind me, because Kara helped me a lot when I was a freshman and sophomore. So that is my goals this season. Any questions? Oh, business marketing, like Lauren. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So don't let Coach Fred fool you. He's actually got some design skills. He actually designed these pullovers they're wearing, which is kind of surprising. They turned out really well. So nice job there, Coach. He's pretty hip, actually. Is that a good word, guys? No, is that still okay? We're going to bring up Coach Paul Sather now to talk about the men's team. Coach is in his 6th season at NSU. He has 86 wins to his credit here at NSU. Led the Wolves to the highest finish since he's been here, which is 4th place. First time we have been in the NCAA tournament since 2009, and coming off a 23-win season, Coach Paul Sather.
Make a little adjustment here. You guys hear all right? Paul, are we good there with that? Okay. Yeah, well, you know, when you look out your window in your office, and it's nice to have I don't think Coach Meyer or Coach Olson ever had a window in their office. I'm fortunate to have one. And you see about a 50-mile-an-hour wind, and I think I saw some sleet or snow going on out there. It tells you it's basketball season, so it's kind of fun to be up here and, you know, be able to talk about your team. A couple people I want to recognize to start. My assistant coach, Matt Severide. Coach Severide's been here now, starting his 6th season with me. We've been together. We've known each other a long time, and it's great to have his experience as being a head coach, his experience of being with different programs, because I'm telling you, we lean on each other a lot, and it means the world to me that he's staying here because he brings a lot of experience to our staff. We also have a similar staff that we've had in the past. Brad Christensen, who works at the high school, helps with us. And Wes McKenzie, who was our graduate assistant last year, is back with us again this year, but he's in class right now. But we have a new guy on our staff that started working with our guys this spring, Coach Fritz, our new strength coach. And I tell you, it's been fun to see our guys change a little bit. I think Sky did his vertical test yesterday, and it was the highest vertical he's had since he's been here. And, you know, when you see a senior have that kind of growth and change in weight stuff, you don't usually see that in seniors. You usually see that in freshmen and sophomores, and I think that shows a lot with what he's been able to do with our guys. So we're excited about what Coach Fritz is doing with our guys in the weight room. You know, about our season in this team, A little bit about last year's team. We lost 3 seniors, Ty Stornston, Seth Bichon, and Mitch White. And I think the thing that those guys brought more than anything was that experience and the toughness each and every day. They love to compete. And I think the first thing we met with this group after the season, it was about the talent and ability, without question, is there, if not better than what it was last year. It's bringing that true toughness to compete every day at that level as a unit like we were able to do last year. Each year you want to try to keep getting better ability-wise and talent-wise, and I think we've been able to do that. A lot of it's going to be about trying to stay healthy. Last year we had really good depth. I don't think this year our depth is as experienced as it was last year. So staying healthy is going to be a very important thing for us, more than ever. And we've already had a few little glitches in that, but if it's going to happen, it's better to happen now, Paige, than it is to happen in January and February. So hopefully we'll keep getting healthier as the season gets going. You lose those 3 seniors last year, but then you also add a guy like Carter Evans, who through 4 games last year, 4 tough D2 games, was averaging almost 10 points and almost 9 rebounds a game. And he missed the rest of the season due to an injury and surgery. And he'll be back. He's back, and he's working his way back into slowing down and getting back to where he was. But when you miss a lot of practice time, it's hard to make up for that. So he's trying to do that the best he can right now. A guy like Mac Arvidsson, who Max had to deal with a few different injuries over his career. Had a tremendous freshman year here, and he's shown us throughout his last few years here how good a player he is and what he can do for us. But it's been hard to keep him healthy and on the floor. Knock on wood, we've made it through 10 practices, and he's really, it's just fun to see Mac being Mac again. And so you add Carter, you add Mac, and then we also add a guy like Ian Smith, who redshirted last year. So with the 3 seniors we lost, I feel like we gained 3 experienced players. And even with Ian as a redshirt freshman, he led a very good Chaplain Park team in high school, and he understands about point guard play, he understands about leadership. He's just a freshman, so he's got a lot to grow and a lot to learn yet. But like what he's doing so far. So you lose those 3, but you add 3 really good players to a lineup this year to go along with our other incoming freshmen that we have. So staying healthy is going to be a big part of it. A little bit more about this year's team. I do think we got a lot of experienced guys back. We've got over 5 to 6 guys that have started games for us in the past. And I can't really go through a starting lineup with you right now because honestly I think we've got 8 guys that could all start. And it's a great problem to have. And I don't really want it to be worrying about who's starting and who's not starting. I want it to be a little bit more about our team and what can you do to help our team, because I really feel like I really believe there's 8 guys in this team without question that could all start, and for that matter 9 when we get fully healthy. So it's a great problem to have with that. And as long as we don't make it an issue and make it more about the team, I think it's something that it won't be as big a factor for us, because I really think our experience, although we lost 3 seniors, we got a lot of guys back that have experience. I like our lineups because we can play a lot of different ways. We could play big, we could play small, we could play with a guy like Justin Decker at a 4. We could play with a guy like DJ Pollard at a 4. And I also think, down the road, Justin's a guy that we'll see a little bit at the 4 as well as time goes on, and I mentioned Justin already. But a guy like Spencer Pankinen, who's a senior this year, and we'll say a few words here in a bit. Spencer's a guy that is a kind of a prototypical 4-man in our system. And I love his approach. I thought he had a really good season last year, and he made a lot of threes for us. I don't know all the numbers. Coach Fred rattles off numbers pretty well. I think he made close to 40 threes for us last year at about 48%, which is a heck of a number. And so we expect him to really fill a big void for us at that 4 spot. But I think we got other guys that can play there at that position. So it's fun to be able to put big lineups, small lineups, and then a lineup like Spencer at a 4 is a little bit more of what you'd see most often in our system. But I think it gives us versatility defensively when you can go small and sometimes big with a guy like Decker and Carter or a guy like Michael Schreiber all on the floor together. It's kind of a big physical lineup you can do. A little bit about our team. Seniors are Sky Warwick, who you'll hear from as well. Sky was one of the leaders in three-point percentage in our league. But as you know, he played a lot of off guard for us. We've tried to keep him at the point guard some and at the 2. He's played a lot of positions. We'll focus more with him at a point this year, but he'll still play some off guard. We don't get too wrapped up, really, for the most part, if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4. We play a lot of motion. We don't have a million sets. In fact, we just put in our first couple entries yesterday. So we don't worry about having a million different plays. So we can utilize Sky at a 1, we can utilize Sky at a 2 without really any impact on what we run offensively. And you want to have him on the floor. Guys, last year in 36 games, he had 19 turnovers. That's a pretty good statistic when you got the ball in his hands. You feel like good decisions are going to be made. And a lot of times those good decisions turn into about 28-foot threes, right, Sky? But I know he's bailed me out several times on late clock by making those shots. So, he's definitely a guy that I trust full-heartedly with our team and with the ball in his hand. Juniors, Mac Arvidsson, who we've talked about. Mac will enter this year as a junior, and he's going to finish this year as a junior, right? Yeah, exactly right. Michael Schreiber. Michael right now hasn't been practicing due to some illness, but he hopefully will be back in the next week. 6'8", 250. Last year at this time, because he had some other illnesses, he was down to like 6'8", 225. And we got a different animal right now, Michael. He's back to being 250 and strong, and that's a really exciting thing. Darren Paterka. Darren was a lot like Sky. I think Sky averaged close to 10 or 11 points last year. Darren averaged right around 10 points a game. Darren is the ultimate utility player. And I said it to our coaches after practice yesterday. He's just such a good overall player on both ends of the floor. He makes passes. He can make shots. He can finish well. And I tell you, I love his defense.